good evening, and welcome to Sky Tonight. The full moon is visible tonight, fully illuminated at 100%. Look for it rising in the east as the sun sets. Viewers are invited to enable captions in their preferred language for local observing cities and times. Join me for a guided tour of tonight's sky, where we'll explore the stars and celestial sights visible from your location. As twilight fades, Venus shines brightly halfway up the southern sky, a perfect starting point. Just above us, the Hercules cluster and the Ring Nebula await, both near the zenith. Later, when the night deepens, we'll turn to Albireo, Altair, and the Dumbbell Nebula glowing high in the south, while Alpha Capricornid's meteors flash silently and Mars rises near the eastern horizon. Toward morning, the southern Delta Aquariids add their streaks to the sky. Mercury appears near the east, the Andromeda Galaxy and Alpha Persei cluster ride high above, and Dipta and Saturn gleam in the south. The tour ends with satellite crossings in the moonlight, a quiet reminder of human craft passing overhead. The dazzling silver-white point of Venus shines brightly tonight, halfway up the southern sky. It's the second brightest object in the sky after the moon, and impossible to miss. Look for it as it dominates the horizon, shining brighter than any star. The planet climbs highest in Los Angeles at 8:25 in the evening, then the best moment moves to New York at 8:45 in the evening, and on to London at 9:35 in the evening. In 1970, the Soviet Venera 7 became the first spacecraft ever to land softly on another planet and send back data, though the searing heat and crushing pressure silenced it within about an hour. The Hercules cluster, a dim fuzzball in the constellation Hercules, is halfway overhead. Use binoculars to spot it on the west side of the Keystone of Hercules, a classic summer target for stargazers. The cluster peaks in Los Angeles and New York together at 9:05 in the evening, while London sees its highest point at 9:35 in the evening. The stars within M13 are predominantly metal-poor population 2 stars, ancient stellar relics that formed during the early epoch of galactic evolution. The Ring Nebula, a greenish ghostly shell in Lyra, is almost straight overhead. Best viewed with a telescope, aim midway between the 2 southern stars of the little parallelogram of Lyra, just below Vega. The nebula reaches its best position around 11:20 in the evening for Los Angeles, New York, and London together. Although it looks like a tiny smoke ring in the sky, the bright part of the Ring Nebula stretches close to 1 light-year across, so light alone would take about a year just to traverse its glowing shell. Albireo is a golden yellow star visible to the naked eye, located at the foot of the Northern Cross in Cygnus. It is high in the southern sky, reaching a maximum altitude of 73 degrees. A small telescope reveals its famous double nature, a golden star paired with a sapphire blue companion. Look for the Northern Cross of Cygnus and find Albireo at its base. This star is best placed around 11:55 in the evening for Los Angeles, New York, and London together. Albireo shines near the heart of the Great Summer Triangle, tucked among the stars of Cygnus that sprawl along the glowing band of the Milky Way. Altair, a white star in Aquila, is high in the southern sky. It's the low corner of the Summer Triangle, flanked by 2 fainter stars. Look for its sharp white light crossing the summer Milky Way. This star peaks highest around 12:15 after midnight across Los Angeles, New York, and London. According to legend, once a year, on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, a flock of magpies forms a bridge over the Milky Way. This allows Niulong and Xinu to meet for a single day. The Dumbbell Nebula, a greenish planetary nebula in Vulpecula, is high in the southern sky. Use binoculars or a telescope to find it just north of the little arrow of Sagitta, below Cygnus. The nebula is highest around 12:25 after midnight in Los Angeles, New York, and London together. Despite its name, the Dumbbell Nebula has nothing to do with planets. The term planetary nebula was coined by William Herschel because such glowing disks resembled planets in early telescopes. The Alpha Capricornids meteor radiant is active tonight in Capricornus, halfway up the southern sky. At its peak, expect around 5 meteors per hour. Look slightly away from the radiant for the longest trails. The radiant reaches its best position around 12:55 after midnight for Los Angeles, New York, and London together. Mars rises tonight near the eastern horizon. It appears as a distinct orange-red point. Look low in the east to spot it as it climbs into view. 2:35 in the morning is the rise time in Los Angeles. New York sees it rise at 2:19 in the morning, and London at 1:41 in the morning. H.G. Wells's 1897 novel, The War of the Worlds, one of the first and most influential alien invasion stories, imagined Martians launching an attack on Earth, cementing Mars as science fiction's go-to source of invaders for over a century. Phobos makes its first crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 54 minutes. In Los Angeles, the crossing happens between 5:37 in the morning and 6:31 in the morning, while Mars stands above the horizon. In New York, the crossing occurs from 8:37 in the morning to 9:31 in the morning, with Mars above the horizon during that window. For London, the event unfolds between 1:37 in the afternoon and 2:31 in the afternoon, as Mars remains above the horizon. Phobos makes its next crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 54 minutes. This crossing takes place between 1:16 in the afternoon and 2:10 in the afternoon in Los Angeles, where Mars is above the horizon. In New York, the event occurs from 4:16 in the afternoon to 5:10 in the afternoon while Mars remains above the horizon. London experiences Mars below the horizon at that time. Phobos makes its next crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 54 minutes. The crossing happens in London between 4:56 in the morning and 5:50 in the morning, during which Mars stands above the horizon. Meanwhile, Mars is below the horizon in both Los Angeles and New York. Deimos makes its first crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 85 minutes. In New York, the crossing occurs between 2:03 in the morning and 3:28 in the morning while Mars is above the horizon. For London, the event runs from 7:03 in the morning to 8:28 in the morning, with Mars above the horizon during that time. Los Angeles experiences Mars below the horizon at that moment. Phobos makes its next crossing of the apparent disk of Mars, lasting 26 minutes. In Los Angeles, the crossing occurs between 4:35 in the morning and 5:01 in the morning while Mars is above the horizon. For New York, the event runs from 7:35 in the morning until 8:01 in the morning with Mars above the horizon. 12:35 in the afternoon to 1:01 in the afternoon marks the crossing window in London, where Mars remains above the horizon. The Southern Delta Aquariids meteor radiant is also active tonight in Aquarius, halfway up the southern sky. Expect about 25 meteors per hour. Let your eyes wander off the radiant for the best view. The radiant is highest around 3:05 in the morning in Los Angeles, New York, and London together. Mercury rises from the eastern horizon tonight. Look low in the east to spot this planet in the constellation Gemini. The planet climbs highest in Los Angeles at 4:39 in the morning, then the best moment moves to New York at 4:27 in the morning and on to London at 3:58 in the morning. Even though Mercury hugs the sun, radar and NASA's MESSENGER probe found water ice hidden in craters near its poles that sunlight never reaches. The Andromeda Galaxy, a pale oval smudge overhead, is one of the farthest objects visible to the naked eye. Hop from the corner of the Great Square of Pegasus along 2 stars to find this distant galaxy. The galaxy is highest at 5:05 in the morning for Los Angeles and New York together, while London sees it highest at 4:35 in the morning and remains above the horizon all night. The Andromeda Galaxy is on a collision course with the Milky Way, and in approximately 4.5 billion years, the two galaxies will merge to create a single elliptical galaxy that astronomers have nicknamed Milkomeda. Difta is high in the southern sky. It's one of the brightest stars in Cetus. Follow the eastern side of the Great Square of Pegasus extended southward to locate it. This star peaks around 5:10 in the morning for Los Angeles and New York together, while London sees its best moment at 4:35 in the morning. Difta lies at a distance of about 96.3 light-years from Earth and is the 50th brightest star in the entire night sky, closing this list of the brightest objects in the night sky. Saturn shines steadily in the southern sky, halfway up. Look for its calm golden glow in Pisces. It's fainter than Jupiter, but unmistakable once spotted. The planet reaches its highest point at 5:15 in the morning in Los Angeles and New York together, while London sees it highest at 4:35 in the morning. A day on Saturn lasts only 10.7 hours, making it one of the planets with the shortest day in the solar system. A complete rotation happens faster than on Earth. The Alpha Persei cluster, a wide river of stars overhead in Perseus, is tonight's featured deep sky object. Look straight at Merfak, the constellation's brightest star, and let your eyes take in the sprawling S-shaped stream of stars spilling away from it. The cluster peaks earliest in Los Angeles at 5:30 in the morning, followed by New York at 5:15 in the morning, while London remains above the horizon all night and peaks at 4:35 in the morning. It was catalogued by Philibert Malot in 1915 from photographic plates, in the decade when cameras began finding groupings that centuries of eyes at eyepieces had walked straight past. The Perseids meteor radiant is active tonight in Perseus, high in the northern sky. Expect about 6 meteors per hour tonight, with numbers building toward the shower's peak on August 12. Look away from the radiant for the best trails. Los Angeles sees the earliest best view of the radiant at 5:30 in the morning, New York follows at 5:15 in the morning, and London waits until 4:35 in the morning. All three cities enjoy it above the horizon throughout the night. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the first crossing of the night. Observers standing on the narrow ground path see the satellite's silhouette cross the moon's illuminated disk for about 1 second. The ground path begins near Mashhad at 7:26 in the evening and ends over the open Pacific at 1:15 in the morning. Tonight, 18 satellites are visible from land crossing in front of the moon's disk. The 6 shown here are the ones whose ground tracks run closest to towns and cities. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the second crossing of the night. This satellite crosses again, with a ground path beginning east of Madhya at 8:04 in the evening and ending over the open Indian Ocean at 2:23 in the morning. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the third crossing of the night. This satellite crosses again, with a ground path beginning near Samandog at 8:30 in the evening and ending northwest of Palu at 1:49 in the morning. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the fourth crossing of the night. This satellite crosses again, with the ground path beginning southeast of Santa Fe at 8:54 in the evening and ending over the open Atlantic at 12:12 after midnight. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the fifth crossing of the night. This satellite crosses again, with the ground path beginning over the open Pacific at 9:28 in the evening and ending east of Macapa at 1:46 in the morning. The Hubble Space Telescope makes the sixth and final crossing of the night. This satellite crosses again, with the ground path beginning over the open Atlantic at 9:38 in the evening and ending over the open Indian Ocean at 1:57 in the morning. A total solar eclipse is coming soon. Follow for details. Come back tomorrow for another look at the night sky, and good observing!